Hi everyone, welcome back to Coachy TV. In this video, we're going to break down two of our girl distance runners from Wharton High School in their 3,200 meter race at our home invitational, Wharton Wildcat Invitational this year. Really interesting the way these two really did feed off each other in this race. Jinia, we have highlighted in a mile race a little bit earlier. It's in the description down below. We haven't highlighted Alex in any race before, so we're going to take a look at both of them. I am Kyla Giacono. I'm the head boys cross country and track coach at Wharton High School in Tampa, Florida, and I have been for the last 7 years. In track, we like to split things up, not just by gender. We like to do it based on event, so that's why you're seeing me present these two young ladies race. So the metrics of the 2 mile, really important to know what the demands are of the race before you can really know anything else about how to train somebody or what's even going on in the race. So let's take a look. So Ingham in 2008 released a study that was looking at what was the percent, or basically who won a race, what made the difference between who won a race and who lost a race. Now, he didn't directly study the 3,200 meters because he was looking more at purely, post-collegiate, professional, semi-professional runners, and they don't run the 3,200 meters. They don't even keep world records for the 3,200 meters anymore. But he was looking at the 5K, and when he looked at who had the best VO2 max, or the more keyly, the velocity at reach someone reaches VO2 max, whoever had the better of this indicator won the 5K 94.3% of the time. And this was done by looking at track races, not cross-country races where there'd be more going on. But as we look a little bit later on, we'll see why this is probably at least as good of an indicator. So this is not actually from Ingham's study. This is what's from Ingham's study, is the 5K was 94.3%. But we can kind of extrapolate from that, from USATF's distance curriculum, that the 2 mile is run right at VO2 max, 100%. Typically, 2 mile pace is very close to VO2 max because it's typically what can you hold for 10 minutes, the fastest aerobic pace possible. So, you've got some kids that can obviously go faster than 10 minutes, so that's why you can run it a little bit faster if it's just basically 2 mile. The best test for VO2 max in a field, not, hooking somebody up to a bunch of gauges in a lab, but in a test, is to run for 10 minutes, not 2 miles. But because of this, I think it would be pretty safe to say that the 2 mile is at least as close of an indicator as it is the 5K, 94.3%. Probably would be a little bit higher, but I think it'd be safe to say that almost 95% of the time, who has the higher, better VO2 max is going to win the 2 mile race. Now, this is a study that was done by Dr. Matter and Hartman. 2018 kind of really pushed out through the IAAF distance curriculum, and when they were looking at this, the 2 mile event, what they found was that the ATP creatine phosphate system is contributing 5% of the energy. So the available ATP in their muscles, and then the phosphocreatine or creatine phosphate system, same thing, is supplying 5% of the energy. That opening kick, that opening first, you hear some people say that the first 60 meters or so, 50 meters are free energy. That's this system as well as the kick at the end. The anaerobic glycolytic system, that speed system that's still fast but not as fast as the creatine phosphate system, is taking care of 15% of the energy. And then the aerobic system is going to be the bulk of the energy contribution here. 80% makes sense. It's a very long race as we're looking at this. So that is the demand of the 2 mile. Now, let's look at Alex Frye. Alex Frye is a sophomore. See what she is entering this race. She was outside the top 10 based on seed from her previous PRs. Her previous PR was 12:41.92 from 2 weeks before at our meet at Gaither High School. This is her first and only race of the day. She's a sophomore. She didn't really have a completed track season the year before, so she was just kind of getting used to it, so I really did not want to start doubling her at this point. The 2 mile is such a long and grueling race as it is. She was not going to do another race on this day. Alex seems to be much more of a pure distance runner. She definitely prefers cross-country to track. This race was on February 29th. It's the 3rd week of our regular season. We were in the middle of specific prep where the anaerobic work is starting to happen, but we're still focusing on aerobic development. You can never get too far away. 80% of the energy in this race is coming from the aerobic system, but as we mentioned, 20% is coming from the anaerobic system, so we don't want to ignore it, and we're starting to build it here in the middle of the specific prep part of the season. Our goal specifically for For Alex was to go under 12:30. Should have happened with 2 weeks worth of development. So the idea was, we set up is, let's hold 93 seconds on the first 6 laps and then try and bring it down from there. The critical zone, the last quarter of whatever race, the last 2 laps of a 2 mile, the last lap of a mile, the last 200 of an 800. That's the critical zone. So that's what we want to do. We are pretty comfortable that we can hold 93s and then bring it down, and that would be at a pace something like 12:28, something like that, if she just held 93 seconds. So this would be a pretty confident plan that we could go under 12:30. Her other PRs to this point, her 1600 meter PR was 5:58.53 from our preseason meet in this year, about 2 weeks before this meet. Her 800 PR is 2:51.63 from the year before. 5K cross country PR from earlier in her sophomore year, 20:54.3, and then her 400 meters was from a test and a hand time meet we did, which was 69.44 seconds. Now, Jinia, she was also outside the top 10 based on these PRs. Her previous PR was 12:27.72, also 2 weeks before in the Gaither meet. She was also going to do the 4x8 this day. As I mentioned, we were starting to work on more speed type work. Not that an 800 is pure speed work, but we're trying to mix some more of these things in. And Jinia is a senior. She's been running for a very long time, and we thought that she could handle this. At our race, the 3200 meter was the first race of the day, and then later on she was going to do the 4x8 about an hour later. Gigi shows great promise in both of these things, both distance and mid-distance. The race was on February 29th, and we already mentioned this, and already mentioned starting to work on the anaerobic system. Our goal for Gigi was to go under 12:15. She was 12:27 going into this, so we were going to try and hold 91 seconds for the first 6 laps and bring it down from there. This would have put her 91 somewhere in that basically just under 12:15 if she were to hold it all the way through. And her other PRs to this point, 1600 meters, 5:37.21 from the year before. She did do a time trial 4:39 earlier this season, and it's in the description down below if you want to see that. Her 800 meter PR was from the year before, 2:29.76. Her 5K cross country PR from her senior season, 20:26.59, and also her 400 meter PR was from a test earlier this season in a hand time meet, 64.93. So let's take a look at the actual race itself. So in this race, the number 1 seed is the girl from Sun Lake right here. They always go out fast, so warn the kids kind of going in. Be prepared for that. All the Sun Lake kids, boys and girls, always do that. So we're going to come through here and see if I can pick out where they are. They were kind of... Gigi is right here, kind of in the middle of this pack, and Alex is just behind her. And you'll see these two kind of mirror each other all the way through. We also have another runner in this race right here, Alexi Amir. I'm not going to focus on her quite as much in this one. She doesn't like kind of the pressure of being told splits and things like that like I normally do, so you won't see her as much in this video. Coming through here with lap 2, you'll see the Sun Lake girls opened up a pretty good lead on everybody. You've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Gigi is holding down 8th place, trying to hold in position there. Alex is in about 10th or 11th place. This was an incredibly windy day. We just had a front come through, so the wind is at their back, going down the back stretch and right in their face on the last part of the stretch. So we were trying to tell them, try and stay right behind somebody, let them block the wind. Even if there's not a lot of wind, you want to do that. You use less muscle energy, just less energy, 1 to 2% if you're right behind somebody. But really here we were trying to be tactical with it. So this is lap 3. That first lap did go out pretty fast as it went through. And then they start to settle in here. Both Gigi and Alex start clipping off some pretty good times, but I'm trying to tell Gigi here to try and get with that next kid because she's doing a lot of work now. Alex is just kind of cruising right behind, letting everybody else set the pace for her. Really smart tactic here by Alex. Turn around and giving Lexi some encouragement also. Same basic idea. Let's try and get right behind this group. That kid that just went through is 2nd place from Cambridge Christian. So that is 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th place. Another bunch of Cambridge kids up front. Really strong distance program with a fantastic distance coach in our area. And Gigi is still holding down that 7th place position. Vanguard girl right behind her, and then Alex coming in right behind her. We're about to close out the halfway point. And both Alex and Gigi in this one come through the mile under pace. So they came through a little bit fast for the first mile, but it's okay because they don't totally fall off. We'll take a look at the splits at the end. But what was really good here is the girl from Vanguard decided to take a lead here, which was very beneficial for both of our girls to just kind of let her do some of the work here. It's a little too early to make a big move unless you've really been holding back with 5 laps to go. They're about to come through the 2,000 meter mark as they finish this race. So still, patience is really the important thing. You really want to even split these races that are long like this. You know, your first 2 miles of, there goes Lexi again, the first 2 miles of a 5K, the first 6 laps of a 2 mile. You really want to be patient with it so you can bring it down in the critical zone. Now, the girl from Vanguard is starting to slip a little bit. You can see she's a little bit more laboring. What I really like here is just how even keel Gigi and Alex's stride patterns are. There's no panic here at all. They know there's still a lot of time left in this race, and what I'm telling them here is let's start to now lock in for the critical zone, the last 800 meters, where I do want to see a bring down in the actual lap splits. Not crazy kicking, because nobody can kick for 800 meters, but just bring it down, if a couple seconds per lap from what you had been doing. That's Lexi also going through, getting close to the critical zone. I'm trying to call out their splits here and the same type of thing. The focus here is lock in on the critical zone. Right here, that's what I'm saying, is let's start to move. Let's start to drop the hammer just a little bit. Let's move on these kids, and they move with each other. Very comfortable, very smooth mechanics. They're not reaching here at all. They are well within themselves. And the last thing I'm saying here before they go around here is prep for that last lap. It's not going to be as much of a crazy kick as you see in a mile, but you've got to move on that last lap even in these longer races. And you see, now is where you start to see a little bit of a struggle because there's not much left in the race. There's 250 meters left. It should be fast here. This is where you really want to just lock in and drive and attack and just go for it all out. So there should be a little bit more of a not a grimace, but just there should be more energy being expended on this last lap. It shouldn't be jelly leg feeling like I'm just holding on for dear life. You should be pushing, but it should be a little bit of a struggle here. As we're coming through. That's where I'm going to end it here because, like I said, I'm not really focusing on Lexi in this breakdown. But Gigi, 12:27, Alex, 12:41. Both of them had fantastic PRs. Lexi also went from 13:39 down to 13:10 in this race. So let's actually look at the breakdown of where they finished and how this all played out. So, here, with Alex, going in, we wanted to hold 93 on the first 6 laps. Very fast first lap, but she was able to handle it on the first mile. She sort of knew her ability. So she was 85 on that first lap, but it didn't really fall off here. So she knew her ability. She really wanted to try and stay with Gigi there and have those kids blocking and win. So it was a really good tactical decision by her to not worry so much that she was a little bit fast on that first lap. Second mile did come down a little bit, but it wasn't drastic as you take a look at these 2 miles. You definitely want to try and even split it. It's hard. Like I said, it was a windy day. She was probably stretching just a little bit early on, but she did not fall off. She did fantastically, and she attacked like you should in the critical zone on the last 8 meters, just like a distance runner should. It wasn't a crazy kick. You weren't going crazy with 800 meters to go. It's just a slight downtick in the actual pace from what you had been actually doing. So not crazy, but faster last 2 laps. She was 3 flat on the last 800. Final time of 12:16.41. So she cut, what is that, 14, about 24, 25 seconds, and got 9th place, new PR. Lap breakdown, she was 85 on the first lap. Again, a little bit quick, but she was able to hold it. 92, 93, 92, 6:04 first mile. That's a 91 seconds per 400, and we were looking for 93, very close. Then it did start to just a little bit. If it's gonna slip a little bit in a 2 mile, this is where it's likely to happen. And that's okay, because brought it down for the critical zone, 93, 87, second fastest lap of the day, 6:11 second mile, 92.25 seconds per 400. Just a fantastic day. She was faster than the 93 goal split on both parts of these. Let's take a look at Gigi's race overall. Again, we wanted her to hold 91 on the first 6 laps. Never really hit a 91. As you saw, though, she was kind of in no man's land. We didn't want her to lead a lot of that because of where the wind was, but she didn't fall off enough to where it affected her in any way. Fast first lap, as you saw, she was in like 6th or 7th place. Might even been a little bit further back than that. Might have been, out of the top 10, but she was patient with it, and she knew her ability just like Alex, and just like Alex, second mile came back, but not drastically. Attacked that last 800 meters in the same way. Faster final 2 laps, 2:58 on her last 800, and the final time was 12:12.97, so she dropped her time by about 15-ish seconds, 0.97, and she was 7th place with a new PR. Lap breakdown, 83 first lap, 92, 93, 92. 6:02 first mile, which is 60 point. That's not right at all. That should be 90.5 seconds. That would be a world record pace. 90.5 seconds, and then on the second mile, 95, 95, 95, and then 85, bringing it down for these last two. Her second fastest lap of the day, 6:10 on the mile, 92 seconds per 400. A little bit slower, but she still managed to go under 12:15, which was the goal of this. So. If you like this video, please think about liking or subscribing. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comments down below. If you maybe saw something in the race itself that maybe I didn't point out, please also drop that in the comments down below. And there's a couple other race breakdowns, as I mentioned, in the description down below if you want to take a look. And until next time, this has been Coachy TV.